What if I told you there was once a city so corrupt, so sinful, that God commanded it to be completely destroyed? A city where women were offered to false gods and dark rituals ruled the streets. This was Jericho, the forbidden city. But what was life really like inside its massive walls before it fell? Let's uncover the shocking truth hidden behind Jericho's ancient stones. Long before the Israelites marched around its walls, Jericho was already a powerful and fortified city. Located in the Jordan Valley, it was one of the oldest inhabited cities in the world, a wealthy center of trade, farming, and pagan religion. But Jericho wasn't just known for its strength, it was infamous for its sinful practices. The people of Jericho worshipped Baal, the storm god, and Asherah, the fertility goddess. These weren't just harmless statues. The worship involved sexual rituals, child sacrifices, and the offering of women. Yes, women were dedicated and used in temple rituals to please the gods and bring fertility to the land. Women, some even forced, were seen as sacred tools for pagan worship. These dark practices were considered holy by the people, but an abomination in the eyes of God. Every aspect of life in Jericho was soaked in spiritual darkness. From sunrise to sunset, people lived under the control of priests and priestesses of Baal and Asherah. Their festivals involved orgies, blood offerings, and ritual dances meant to summon rain or fortune. The city's elite ruled with pride and arrogance. They believed their walls were impenetrable. Their rituals, their wealth, and their gods gave them confidence. But it was a confidence built on rebellion against the one true God. Children were raised to fear and obey these false gods. Families would offer their firstborns in sacrifice, hoping to gain favor. What we today call evil, they called worship. The corruption ran so deep that mercy no longer had a place in the city. In the midst of Jericho's deep sin, God sent a sign of his coming judgment and a chance for redemption. Joshua, the leader of Israel, secretly sent 2 spies to scout Jericho before the Israelites attacked. These men were to gather information about the city's defenses, but what they found was far more important. They encountered a woman named Rahab, a prostitute living on the city wall. But Rahab wasn't like the others. She had heard of the God of Israel, how he parted the Red Sea, how he destroyed Pharaoh's army. And deep in her heart, she believed that this God was the true God. Instead of betraying the spies, Rahab risked her life to hide them from the king's guards. She pleaded with them, "I know the Lord has given you this land. Swear to me by the Lord that you will show kindness to my family." Joshua 2, 9-12. This moment was powerful. In a city drowning in sin, Rahab's faith stood out like a candle in the dark. And because of her faith and courage, she and her family were spared when the walls of Jericho came tumbling down. God gave the Israelites a strange command: march around the city once a day for 6 days, and on the 7th day, march around 7 times. Blow the trumpets and shout. No weapons, no siege engines, just obedience. The people of Jericho must have laughed. Their walls were thick, their gates strong, and their gods many. But they didn't know that no wall can stand against God's judgment. On the 7th day, as the Israelites shouted, the walls of Jericho collapsed, not from human effort, but by the hand of God himself. The city was destroyed. Everything that represented sin, idolatry, was wiped out. Only Rahab and her family were saved. This wasn't just about victory, it was about purity. God was making a statement: I will not share my glory with idols. Rahab's story didn't end with the fall of Jericho, it transformed there. Once a woman known for sin in a sinful city, she became a symbol of faith and redemption. The spies kept their word. When the city burned and walls crumbled, Rahab and her family were rescued. But what happened next is even more powerful. She didn't return to her old life. She joined the people of Israel, leaving behind the idols, immorality, and culture of Jericho. Over time, Rahab not only became accepted, but married a Hebrew man named Salmon. Together, they had a son named Boaz. Yes, the same Boaz who would marry Ruth. This means Rahab became the great-great-grandmother of King David and was woven into the very bloodline of Jesus Christ, Matthew 1:5. From the ashes of a forbidden city, God raised up a woman of legacy. Her life is proof that God's grace can reach into the darkest places and bring forth light that changes history. Jericho is more than just a city. It's a spiritual symbol of the battles we face in our own hearts. Its towering walls represent pride, rebellion, and resistance to God. Its idol worship shows how easily people can trade truth for lies. But just like the Israelites, we are called to march, not with weapons, but with faith. Sometimes God will call us to walk around our own Jerichos, those strongholds of addiction, sin, and doubt, and trust Him, even when the walls seem unshakable. The story teaches that obedience to God's instructions, even when they seem strange or slow, leads to victory. And no wall, no sin, no past is too strong for His power to break. Why Jericho was forbidden? The curse. After Jericho fell, Joshua did something surprising. He placed a curse on the city. He said, "Cursed before the Lord is the one who undertakes to rebuild this city, Jericho." Joshua 6:26. Anyone who tried would do so at the cost of their own children. Why this curse? Because Jericho had become a symbol of defiance, filth, and pagan worship. God didn't want His people to rebuild the past He had destroyed. This curse served as a warning. Do not go back to what I rescued you from. And indeed, many years later, during the time of King Ahab, a man named Heel tried to rebuild Jericho, and exactly as Joshua warned, he lost his 2 sons in the process. 1 Kings 16:34. God's word never fails. Lessons from Jericho, a warning and a hope. 1. Sin may look powerful and untouchable, but it falls before the presence of God. 2. God sees faith, even in unexpected place. 3. When God delivers you from something, don't go back. There's always a curse in returning to what He already freed you from. Rahab shows us that no one is too far to be redeemed, and Jericho shows that no sin is too big to be judged. Final thought: the forbidden city and the God who breaks chains. In the end, Jericho's story is not just about judgment, it's about freedom. It's about a God who sees through the walls into the hearts, a God who brings down what is evil, but saves what is repentant. A God who can take a woman like Rahab from the lowest place and write her into the greatest story ever told. Overall lesson: don't trust in your walls, your idols, or your past. God sees everything. But if you turn to Him, no matter your story, He can redeem it all. If this story opened your eyes to the hidden truths of the Bible, don't forget to subscribe for more eternal stories and revelations.